Welcome, everyone. This is Coaching In Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about motivation and discipline and what's the difference between the two. Because if we think about what motivation is, and you might hear all these people, Joe Rogan talks about it a lot, David Goggins, they say motivation is not enough. F motivation, right? That's basically what they're saying. Listening to music, going into the gym, that's motivation. Waking up in the morning saying, all right, let's do this. That's motivation. Stepping into January 1st, got your New Year's goals and resolutions. That's motivation. That's not discipline. That is us feeling motivated to do something. However, we can be disciplined. And discipline might look like you wake up in the morning. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Time to go to the gym. There's a difference in the mindset. Because if we just simply say, oh, you know what? I don't feel like doing it today. I'm not in the mood. I'm not 100%. But it's not about being 100% because not every single day you're going to be motivated. Not every single day you're going to want to do what you have to do or you think you have to do. So today we're going to be helping you understand the idea behind motivation and what you can do about it, how you can become more motivated, but not only by motivation alone, but by also creating good habits and creating the discipline that you need. But how do we get there? So today we're going to be bringing on a coach who helps people understand their power, who helps people understand that they can do great things in their life. And there's some great tips in this episode. I do want to make sure you understand that going into this interview with Carenda Deonne and myself, get your notepads, get your phones out if you can, and start to take notes because you're going to find so many great tips and tricks in this episode that is going to help you become more motivated, become more disciplined, and become more certain on your path in life. So let's get into that interview with Carenda and myself. Welcome, Carenda Deonne, to Coaching In Session. How are you doing today?
Wow, glad to be here. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks so much for coming on. Today, we're going to be talking about the all-be-all bit of motivation. People think if they're motivated, they can do anything. And there is some truth in that. But there is an aspect to motivation that we're going to be talking about today that you're going to be helping us with because you help people with that. You help people with empowerment, motivation, unleashing themselves from the shackles that they have given themselves or what society has given them. And you help them to be free and to find the joys in life that they know they can. And it's so important that we get there because people are looking for joy. They're looking for happiness. They're looking for fulfillment. And sometimes they need someone to help guide them along the way, to give them some breadcrumbs, let's say, to help them get to that goal. But without me telling the world everything about you, your whole biography, please tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help.
Oh, goodness. Listen, I am Carenda Deonne. I am a girl from Baltimore, Maryland. I love God. I enjoy helping women to find and pursue their purpose while healing from emotional pain. I enjoy living life. I incorporate laughter in every part of my day. So we will probably laugh a lot. I might laugh and you might say, what's so funny? I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be here.
Of course.
But motivating and empowering, inspiring women and men has just been a passion of mine for a very, very long time. I know how it feels not to be motivated for various reasons and the inner battles that we have in dealing with that and pushing through that. I'm just glad to be here and share any insight and wisdom and guidance I can give to your audience today.
Excellent. And that is what we're going to be diving into. We are going to be doing this in a formatted way. So we're going to start with the beginning of our day, going to the middle of our day, to the end of our day. But before we get to that, we need to define what motivation is. Because motivation is one of those things that it might be a different definition. It's similar to success in a sense, because success for me can be living in a cabin. Success for you might be living in New York in a high-rise tower and you have all the amenities, right? So for me, I'm living off grid. You're living in the city. It's a different form of success, right? So your envision for success is just different than mine, but yours is not wrong and mine is not wrong. It's just what I envision for myself. And the same is true for motivation. Because motivation for me might be, okay, I want to wake up and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to kill it. For you, motivation might be, well, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to do my emails, I'm going to head into the office, get everything I have to get done. What is motivation in your definition?
Motivation, in my definition, is really what stirs the pot for you. You may have a recipe of several ingredients, right? But what is it that when the heat is turned up, it really gets you going? It's something that brings flavor and aroma and passion to you. As you said, it looks different for different people, but we all have a flavor. We all have a liking. We all have an aroma, a presence, and really finding and understanding, being true to who you are, of what really stirs the pot, gets the heat rising in your life. As you said, for some, it could be that working out, right? Or for some, it could be journaling or writing. For some, it could be taking those hiking and camping trips. But it's what stirs that pot, what really heats it up for you, gets things going for you, gets that momentum to shift in a positive direction. I think one of the things that you have to do when you think about motivation, you have to think about you. You have to think about yourself. You have to think about things that you enjoy. You have to think about things you do not enjoy. You have to think about things that speak to your schedule, your limitations. You've got to do that in order to find true motivation. And I also believe that you have to be okay with that, right? I mean, there's so many things out here that can influence us to go one way or the other. But true motivation is being true to who you are. True motivation is being honest about who you are and saying, hey, I'm okay with that. I'm not perfect, but I am the most authentic person that I can be. Finding motivation is first looking at yourself and being true to you.
You said something early on, right? So the motivation is like heating up, right? You find something to heat yourself up.
Yeah.
Let's play pretend, right? Let's say you don't have a pot, you don't have a heat source, you don't have a fire, you don't have a stove or anything. So you have a very hard time becoming motivated. How can someone begin to find motivation when they're having a hard time finding that heat, finding that purpose, finding what they want to do in their life?
That's a good question. But one thing that we all have, and if we didn't have it, or if we were not operating with it, we would not be here. And that is our heartbeat, right? We have a beat of our heart that speaks to us. If you're having a difficult time finding motivation, put your hand on your heart and really ask your heart, what would it take for us to just put one foot in front of the other? Is it somebody that I could talk to? Is it something that I could read? Is it a song that I could listen to? Is it something expressive that I can write or paint? Is it something that I can dance to? Or just what is that? Heart, speak to me. And I believe that your heart will. I believe that your heart will. Your heart loves you. Your heart is true to you. If you're having a hard time finding motivation, put your hand on your heart, feel your heart beating, and ask your heart to be kind to you, to speak to you, and show you even the most smallest percentage or fraction what you could do starting right now to keep yourself healthy and happy, your heart moving and going in the right direction.
Yeah, beautifully said, because that's important. Life is purpose. And if we can find the purpose in our life, then it's going to be a lot easier for us to become motivated and to take action. However, there's going to be some moments when we are just drained. We are just beat down and we are just maybe unsure. We're just thinking about things and we have all the self-doubt in our mind. We might not be motivated in that point in time. However, we can become disciplined. Regardless of how we feel, we still do something. For example, you might not want to wake up on Monday after a nice long weekend with your family, and you don't want to go to work working a 9 to 5 at a job you might not like, but you do it because you want to provide for your family. You do it because you want to put food on the table. You do it because you want your kids to have a better life. They might be drained by the end of the week. And yes, they're motivated to do something, right? Because they want to provide the best for their family. But is there an aspect to discipline involved into that too? Because then we are going to get into the conversation a little bit later. I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of a forward thinking. Is we're going to tie the difference between motivation and discipline, because some days you're not going to feel motivated, but you could be disciplined to do it. A great example is going to the gym. I know it's not work and you might not need to go to the gym because you might have a very hectic work where you're always walking. You don't need to go to the gym, or you just like exercising like at the park or doing yoga. So there's different things like that. But motivation, when you don't feel like it Monday, and then is that discipline or is that a purpose?
I think all things that are working together for us, it is for our good. I think all things have purpose, have some type of meaning. Rather, if it's something you could be completely exhausted from, but what you are exerting your energy towards is still purpose for something. I do think, however, discipline is necessary for settlement. Discipline is necessary to remind you of your why. Because, as you said, there are days where you just may not be motivated. But if you are disciplining yourself to make sure that I speak words over me that's going to, give me life or give me some energy or give me something to look forward to, or that I am going to make sure that I spend some time before the end of the day writing a gratitude list. I mean, I had a rough day, but when I really sit down and think about it, there's so many things that I'm grateful for, right? And so that discipline helps to ground you and keep you focused on your why. And even though sometimes that why may feel a little blurred, may feel a little frustrated, may feel a little, truth be told, a little depressing because we feel like it's just the same thing over and over again, but it's paying off. I read a book a long time ago, and it's a great book. It's called The Compound Effect, but it talks about little by little, it adds up, it pays off. That resiliency pays off. That discipline will even trigger you to say, okay, you know what? I've been focused here. And I feel like in my mindset, I'm ready to shift to something different, or I'm ready to embrace change, or I'm ready to turn negativity into my greatest momentum. So I think discipline is very vital, especially when you're looking at motivation. If you have it or the lack of, discipline is very good in helping you to stay grounded.
I find motivation is something you can give yourself. For example, if you want to get in the mood, you can listen to some music, you can listen to a podcast, a motivational speech, and that can give you the boost that you need. And I think people don't understand just how much time they need in order to re-energize. You only need about 5 minutes, but people do it in the wrong way. People will go on their phones, they'll go on the sofa, watch a movie or something like that. That might not recharge you what you need, or it might not charge you the best. So think of like you have a 5-watt charger for your wireless charger for your phone, and then you have like a 45-watt charger. You're going to charge a lot quicker on the 45-watt. Not saying that you're not going to charge with the 5-watt, you will, but how long are you going to be sitting on that sofa? 3 hours? When you can do it in 30 minutes, or you could do it in 5 minutes. Do you have to figure out what recharges us? And that is the question I want to ask you. What recharges you? What like lifts you back up when you're feeling down, when you're feeling like everything is just so heavy, the world's on your shoulders, and you're like, get off me, world, I'm going to recharge. What do you do?
Several things recharge me is that I know that I'm loved. I know that I'm loved by God. I know that no matter what it is I am going through, that love is constant and unconditional. So that charges me. Another thing that charges me is the support of my family. And I know that looks different for everyone. Some may say, I don't really have a good support system, but there is support out there. So if it doesn't come from your immediate circle, there are so many groups and counseling sessions and free resources where you still can get connected with people to help motivate you. But that helps to charge and motivate me. And music does too. I am a very creative person. I cannot sing, but I enjoy music. I enjoy writing. That's a safe place for me. That helps also to charge and to keep me motivated as well. But you do have to find that. And I'll tell you this really quick, because some may say, that's interesting. But I'm telling you, good food does something for me. I am a foodie. There are times when if I have a really good meal and I'm able to have a beautiful scenery or sit outside and hear the birds or listen to just nature or just take in scenery, those things really personally for me charge and motivate me.
Food is definitely one of them because not saying that you need to have some ice cream, some Ben and Jerry's every time
Right,
you're feeling
right,
down.
right,
I'm just
right.
saying like there's some foods that you eat and you're like, oh, like this is what I need. It could be some orange juice. It could be as simple as that. Just that little bit of sugar can give you that boost. For me,
Absolutely.
it could be a protein shake, right? Like so after the gym, I'm just like feeling a little down. I'm like, man, I just want to kind of lay down. But if I have a protein shake, I revitalize myself. We do have to know how to revitalize ourselves. We have to know how to recharge ourselves because that is where many people fail or many people fall short because they kind of just go through life. They just say, okay, well, it's Monday. I'm going to go through Friday. Friday comes excited. Saturday, Sunday, they just do things, right? So they just live in this circle, this rat race is what it's called. But if we do something where it's like, all right, I have a bigger purpose and I'm trying to reach more in my life and I want to reach more in my life. I want to become disciplined. I want to reach those goals that I know I can reach, but I might not have the correct habits currently to get there. If we give ourselves, as you said with the book, The Compound Effect, great book, if you start to implement something small in your day and you just slowly build from there, it's like a savings account. Yes, you only put $1 in a day, but in 30 years, it's not going to be what that dollar a day is, right? It compounded.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. So the same thing is true for actions. We do have to understand that our actions compound. And I recently heard something, and this is something I think you'll love. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's we are only a certain amount of failures away from success, like true success. Like, how many more times do you have to fail? How many more times do you have to feel tired until you feel recharged? It's only a certain amount of times until you finally get to that point. And a lot of people, they stop right before success. They stop right before they get to the goal. Motivation might bring you 75% of the way there, but then you stop because you don't feel motivated anymore. That's where
Right.
discipline takes over, saying, hey,
Yeah.
we already got 75% of the way. Let's go to the other 25% because we have already been doing that. How powerful is that to the mind and people when they understand that motivation can be a part of the puzzle, but their habits really are the wrapping paper of the gift that is life?
Yeah, that seals it. It's so important because it only can take you but so far. But you have to look at habits and discipline. If you're not treating your body well or doing things that will fuel you or that is healthy for you, if you're not getting a good night's rest for whatever reason and not trying to work on helping to turn that around, all of that plays into effect. The other thing, two things really quick, if I can remember them as I'm talking. One of the things I want to share is that when you talk about going all the way, one of the things you have to do is embrace all of you. Sometimes we just become motivated on what we feel we do well. Sometimes we become motivated on what other people tell us we do well. But there's always a flip side. There's always a flip side. And there's a side of you that there's weakness. There are things that you may not be proud of. There are things that you struggle with. There are things that it's hard for you to face. There are things that you ignore and dismiss. But to get you over to the other side of success, yes, it takes motivation. Yes, it takes discipline and good habits. But it also takes you saying yes to all of you. The side that you love and other people love, and the side that you don't love so much and that other people may not know about so much. But you've got to embrace it all. It's so important. And it leads me to my second point that when you think about motivation and as it leads you to purpose and alignment and success, you cannot be afraid to talk about your scars. Sometimes it is your scars that identify you. Sometimes it is sharing your scars, your hardships, your pain, the push that will help somebody else. And so it's not only elevating you into a level in a space of maturity and acceptance and forgiveness and love and cultivation and harvest, but it's also helping someone else be the best that they can be.
When you get to like motivational speakers and, like coaches and things like that, people don't work with these people or go to their seminars because they have the perfect life. They go because they had some hardship. And this person is relatable. They're human. We do have to understand that we're all human and we all
Yes.
make mistakes. We all learn and we all grow. And it's important that we understand that. And it's very easy for people to go into these workshops and sit down and see someone perfect, but they don't understand that that person had to go through so much hardship, had to go through so much challenge to be on that stage. You are right now at that point where you might just be getting ready to go on stage, but you have to go through that hardship. You have to go through that challenge. You have to go through that struggle. At the end of it, you are coming out as a survivor, you're coming out as a victor. Now you can say, this is my story. This is how I did it. I want to share that with people. One of the things that I think people have a very difficult time with is the concept of healthy society, because they might see what's happening in the world and they say, well, this is normal. It's normal to take antidepressants. It's normal to be stressed out because of work. It's normal to be in fear because we watch all this social media news and stuff like that, where we're always in the consistent, which is not healthy behavior of a toxic world, where people don't want to feel motivated. They don't want to feel disciplined because they're like, you know what? Everything is so negative around me. What's the point? Now, we did talk about the point, but how do we counteract that negative society? How do we counteract that negative world, our negative friends, the people we might love the most? They might be negative in some aspect, in some regard. What do we do with them?
That's a good question. I think that one of the things you have to do is you have to have someone that is a safe place for you to filter through things. You have to have someone that is trustworthy in your circle, in your life, that you can talk to and you can filter things that you're starting to see and recognize and be sensitive that is hindering you or causing you to have emotional baggage, toxins, whatever. But you need that person. You really, really need that person because you can't do this thing by yourself. You can't do this thing alone. It doesn't matter how great you think you are. You need someone. We are stronger together. It's very important to have that individual in your life that you know they are a safe place. That's very important. They are trustworthy. That's very important. If you don't have that person right now, and until you find that person, I would highly suggest that you write. Writing is important. It doesn't have to be very formal. Don't worry about grammar. If you need to get it all out, use whatever you got to say. If that's what it takes, then do it. I'm a firm believer. Do it, right? Because you need to, at times, there's that transparent raw side. You got to be clear with really where you are, what's happening, what's going on. It's very important. I think that it's crucial to have that person in your life as you are moving forward to help filter some of those things that are happening. You also have to sometimes just let people go or cut some ties. And I know that can be hard. And I know with family, that can be very difficult. I'm not saying you have to be rude. I'm not saying you have to be disrespectful. But what I'm saying is you can choose, right, the time or the energy that you're going to put into that. It's a decision. A lot of things that we do comes down to choice, comes down to the decisions that we make. If you know you had a really good day, you're moving forward with some things, and right at the 6 o'clock hour, negative Nancy, cousin Nancy, who's negative, is calling. And sorry, I'm not saying every Nancy's negative, but just example, but calls and you know she's going to have something negative to say, or she's just not going to be that person that's going to keep you uplifted at that time. Do not answer. Let her know I'll call you back. Let her know I'll get with you at another time. It's okay to protect your space, to protect your moment, to protect your experience and your now, being fully in of what you're doing at that present. It's okay to protect that if it's family or friends, and you have to be okay with doing that. I hope that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. I do want some advice from you because if someone calls my phone, and people call my phone all the time, this phone's off the hook. It was just ringing right now while we're recording.
I believe it.
And it's a problem because sometimes people will call. I see who's calling. I go, I don't want to answer that phone call. Do I answer that phone call, or do I say my sanity, my progress is more important than, having to deal with this negative person for the next 5 minutes? Because then that might drag me down for the next hour.
It will. Oh my gosh. And you don't understand. First of all, don't answer the call. And you don't understand how energy is powerful. When that energy is released, and I know for me, I have to be very careful because I tend to take on the energy of others. I tend to start carrying their weight. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. We're not doing that today. It is okay to protect your space. If it's your mindset, if it's your heart, it's okay to say, no, we're not doing that today. I wouldn't answer the call when time allots and it's a better time and space. So be it. And still in that, I would have some boundaries. I told clients and people that I speak to, setting healthy boundaries is not negotiable. You have to do that in your life. It's so important to set healthy boundaries because if not, you are going to have a chaotic life and it's not a way to live in purpose. So you've got to set healthy boundaries.
But you will become the villain because people were like, oh, you don't want to talk to me. You're very strict. And if I say something, it's like I'm walking on eggshells with you. But what I will say to that is that there's going to be people in your life. You don't need many. You need like maybe 2, maybe 5 most. It's like people who are just like your go-getters, right? People who want to see you win just as much as they want to win. Most people, I'm not saying everyone, but most people, they will have some resentment if they see you doing better than them. It's just because they feel inferior. They were like, well, like Michael's doing really good and I'm not really doing that well. I'm going to try to do something to bring him down, to detract from him. And we do have to understand that people will do that subconsciously or unconsciously. It might not be like malicious, but we do have to understand that our time is very valuable. And we do have to have a community of strong, healthy people in our life. And one of the best ways you can do that is by getting a coach, getting a mentor, getting a guide, someone who could be in your corner, who could be your biggest cheerleader. And what we were talking about today was we can help you, right? We can be that person in your life. As we begin to wrap up, I would love for you to tell everyone some final words and then to please tell the audience where they can find you so they can reach out to you.
Oh my goodness. Final words would be, I really want this to be a year of evidence for you. I really want this to be a year where there are just countless moments of evidence, things that are happening in your favor, not working against you, but working for you. And I would say, be sure to take care of yourself in order to appreciate that, in order to receive that. Take care of yourself, take care of your mind, take care of your body, take care of your heart. And those times in which you feel that you don't know where to turn, put your hand there, feel the beat of your heart, and just be grateful that you have another opportunity. You have another chance to put one foot in front of the other and to move forward gracefully. And if you're in a situation where you feel that you have just messed up, it's okay. We all do. We all have a backstory. Do not be ashamed of what your backstory is, your scars, because those scars will help to identify you. They will help to take you to a greater level and help you to help others be the best that they can be. Now, I would love to connect with you. So please be sure to follow me. You can find me on my website at carendadeonne.com. I am also on Instagram and Facebook at Carenda Deonne. Definitely, you can find me there, and I would love to connect with you.
And I will definitely make it easy for everyone to follow you. All those links will be in the description box below. I encourage everyone to follow her and to look more into her story because you're going to find that it's full of life, full of purpose, and full of passion. And that's what we need more in our life. We need people who understand that we are not meant to be in solidarity and we are meant to be these lone warriors. We are stronger together, as you said. And it's important that we allow our scars to be forefront, not hide them, not be ashamed of them, because at the end of the day, those make us stronger. Setting healthy boundaries, all the things we talked about today are going to be quintessential to happiness, success, fulfillment, everything. To not be afraid, seek motivation, but then to also understand that we do have to create the habits and create discipline. I want to thank you so much, Carenda, for coming on. Great conversation today. All right, everyone. I would like to thank you so much for watching that interview with Carenda Deonne and myself. What went on in that episode or that interview was we were talking about the difference between motivation and discipline. And then we tied in different things, right? The start of our day, we might wake up in the morning and we might not feel like doing things, but then we give ourselves the purpose. The way I did it was not so much of a structured because I like to switch things up, where she said something powerful. If you didn't catch this, I'm going to tell you, put your hand on your heart. And after you have your hand on your heart, just understand that it's beating. It's beating. It's beating. It's beating for you. It's beating for you to live. The brain has a purpose. The brain has a goal every single day to keep itself alive. Now, as we grow and we get older, certain parts of our body begin to shut down, things like that. It works less efficiently. However, just because we get older, it doesn't mean we have a crutch that we have to abide by. Sometimes people think, well, I'm too old. It's too late for me to do things. It's never too late. You can make anything happen in your life at any age. Age is just going to be a reflection of your mindset. So you could be 65 in the gym killing it, and you can be 35 with back pains and knee pains, and you can feel like, man, I'm falling apart. I got to take some Advil just to walk around my house. So depending on where you are, on what spectrum, you do have to do the work. You have to put in the work. We talked about this in the sense of people, but we do have to create healthy boundaries within ourselves too. Because if we are just going to treat ourselves poorly every single day and we're going to ask ourselves to do all these things, we have to ask ourselves if we have a vehicle, our body, that's going to help us get to the location that we want to get to, the goals that we want to get to in life. Think about if you have a 1950 Ford or whatever car, like an old car, you don't treat it well. You don't get oil changes. You don't rotate the tires. You don't change any fluids. This car is just kind of running on fumes. Do you think you're going to take this car from New York to California without any hiccups? Maybe you get lucky. But if you took care of that car, you made sure you got an oil change, you have the tires taken care of, everything's pristine, right? Everything's checked out. You did everything you could. Yes, there's going to always be an opportunity for something to go wrong. However, you equipped yourself the best you could before the trip to make sure that you have a safe and a prosperous trip with no hiccups. Yes, in life, there's going to be hiccups. Sometimes you're going to have to deal with things that you don't want to deal with, but we learn from them. We prepare for everything. We talked about it on the podcast. Prepare yourself for bear. Whatever can go wrong, you are equipped. And in a sense, we do have to give ourselves healthy boundaries and to make sure that we're in the healthiest state of mind and body that is going to give us the boost that we need. Because most people are just walking lethargic in life. They just don't have the energy. They just don't have the motivation to be more. They don't have the aspirations to change their life. They don't understand that their habits are not helping them. They don't have any discipline in the right areas of their life. Because we do have to train our mind. And everyone's mind can be changed. It doesn't matter about the age. Neuroplasticity can happen at any age. Yes, it's easier to do it with someone who is abundant and young. Because if you're just in that fixed mindset and you are old, right? That old adage you're saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And it's not that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's just that they have become so fixed minded that it's difficult to get them out of that. Now, the easiest way to get out of that is a trauma, is a hardship, your scar. And from that, you can grow. But sometimes people will take that hardship and they'll throw it away. Sometimes people will have a difficulty in their life and they'll say, I'm not going to pay attention to that. That's negative. So they worry about the good things in life, but yet they're ashamed of the bad things that were supposed to lift them up. People don't learn from success alone. We learn greater from failure, actually. So if you have a failure, you actually are better in the end than if you had a success. And it's similar to yin and yang. We have our dark and our light, our good and our bad. And in life, we're going to have moments of weakness and moments of strength. And we do have to pay attention to each moment. When are we weak? Why are we weak? What do we do about it? When we're strong, we don't just say, well, we're strong. Cool. Pay attention to it. Have some gratitude toward that. You're going to find that you're going to choose strength more than you choose weakness. And it's not something that you can just do overnight. It's not something that you can say, you know what? I'm just going to change my whole life. I'm just going to become motivated and disciplined. I'm going to listen to some Motivation in Motion, which is a video series that we have here at Reven Concepts every Tuesday and Thursday. There's a motivational video that comes out on YouTube. I encourage everyone to check that out. Now, if a 2 to 3 minute video is too long for you, I understand. Head over to revenconcepts.com and you can check out our Instagram page, or you can just type in @RevenConcepts on Instagram. And you'll find our shorts, our reels on Instagram. They're the easiest to find. I find that the reels and the shorts on YouTube Shorts are a little bit more difficult because we have so many videos that come out. We have, 5 or 6 videos that come out a week? That's a lot of videos. So I'm not telling people to go to YouTube. They can't find it. If you go to Instagram, it's going to be right there. TikTok, going to be a lot of short form content. And all of that right there is geared at giving you tips, giving you guidance, giving you motivation, healthy habits, and discipline. Now, I do understand another aspect that we didn't really get into today, but the aspect of you might not feel like listening to motivation content and personal development growth content. You do have to be in that state of mind. How do you get into that state of mind? Well, you do have to be in a sense of want, but then you also have to have the yearning for some change, and you're looking for some quick answers. You're going to consume motivational personal development content more readily than someone who's kind of in a good area of their life and they're kind of coasting than if you were someone who was like, hey, I need to make some changes. Because even when I was beginning my whole journey and changing everything and building the company, 2016, 2017, I can't tell you how much personal development, motivation stuff I consumed. It was like my whole life. I didn't watch anything else. It was just this, motivation, personal development. But today, now it's like I am so focused on what I have created and my goals. So that's always keeping me going, right? I have a choice still. I can choose weakness or I can choose growth. In the moments where I'm choosing weakness, I just have to remind myself, is this going to help me get to where I want to be sooner or later? Because if I'm waiting and I'm procrastinating and I'm prolonging the journey, eventually I'm going to run out of time and I might not be able to get to the end. And it's not a scarcity mindset because I know I can get there, but I do have to have the purpose. So sometimes you might not feel like it. Sometimes you might not be in the mood, but not every single day we're going to be in the mood. Not every single day we're going to want to show up. Not every single day we're going to want to fight. In order to survive, we do have to understand ourselves. When are we most active? For me, I have to win in my morning. If I can win in my morning, I win the whole entire day. For you, you might have to win your evening. Figure out when is the most important time for you to get things done. When are you most effective? When are you most efficient? Because you might find at the end of the day, you are just drowned, you're dead, you're beaten, decision fatigue has kicked in and you don't want to do anything. And that's understandable. If you need to recharge, you recharge. But then understand that you're not just recharging because you are lazy. Stay determined, but understand when you need to recharge and when you want to recharge. Because wants are going to be, oh, I want some cake, I want some ice cream, right? Things that make us feel good very quickly, right? That momentary pleasure. However, there's an aspect that I want you to take away from this episode is you can have all the momentary pleasures in life that will always fleet you in a matter of minutes. If you decide to take some of those moments and to choose struggle, to choose challenge, to choose a greater self, a greater being, you're going to find that you have a more prolonged sense of joy and happiness, and an elevated sense of your equilibrium, where it's just like, all right, this is where I am, but it's at a higher and elevated level. So there's no reason to stay in your comfort zone, to stay in a mundane mindset. We can choose prosperity, happiness, joy, abundance, empowerment, all of those things that are going to help us in life, because we all essentially do want that. We all want the goodness. We all want the greatness. We all want the things that shine, but yet not everyone's willing to put in the work. So if you are willing to put in the work, I encourage you to check out those links in the description box below, whether it's Carenda or myself here at Reven Concepts. We want you to be the best person you can be. And we might start off with some motivation, but that motivation is going to help us build the habits and the discipline, because at the end of the day, when you mix the two, they're stronger together. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me coachinginsession@gmail.com, and I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone take care.